Hello, everybody. Grand Rising. It's the glamorous Grand here. I gotta button up a little bit here because the shirt is a little lopsided. I don't know if you truly understand that everything happens for a reason. I'm gonna read this by Myra Kirschbaum. See, being good, doing well. It's hard for some people to accept that this applies. Hold on, let me get back. Applies to them. For example, when you're growing up in a poor neighborhood, the way I did, you're always wondering if you're going to make it, which deep down means doing something that makes you proud of yourself. You know that your little world has a way of trapping you, limiting your hopes and opportunities, sucking you back into the mud. You see young people older than yourself, good looking, bright, charming, and then one day there they are married, living in the neighborhood with kids of their own, working at a go nowhere job. You know how hard it is to do really good, do well. So being a good person can fall low on your ladder of priorities. Let's talk about Sharon. Sharon was a friend of mine growing up. One of those kids, you knew was going to do something big one day. She had that focus that makes all the difference. Plus, she had real talent. Sharon's parents were garment factory workers. Sharon wanted to be a designer. And her loose leaf notebook, she always sketching skinny, long neck, black, blank faced women wearing all kinds of beautiful clothes, from ball gowns to tailored suits. When you see an 11-year-old drawing women wearing tailored suits, you know she's serious. And Sharon did make it. She got hot in the early 80s, became a much talked about young designer with parents in the garment industry. She knew the business, so she had a lot of money too. In fact, she had it all, including well connected Wall Street husband. Hmm. The thing, the thing is, if you known her back when all this was starting, you'd have liked her a lot. Contrary to the image of people who clawed their way out of the jungle, Sharon's success was accompanied by the fact that she was genuinely good person. If a friend asked her for help, Sharon was there for her. Yeah. If someone asked me for help, I'm there for them. And she never deliberately hurt anyone on her how on her way up. But as she got busy, she got less interested in being a good person. She rarely go out of her way to help anyone. Being good meant nothing more than not being bad. And every once in a while, writing a check could really easily afford. And still, she thought of herself as a good person. Then something happened to Sharon that was devastating. She got a call from a lawyer. Her husband had told his lawyer to tell her that he decided to get out of their marriage and he wanted custody of their two boys. He think he didn't think her lifestyle was good for the boys because all she did was work. He claimed and hanged out with weirdos. The next 3 years was worse than if her husband had died. On top of her loss was a sense of rejection, the terrible fear of loss, losing her children, and an inability to figure out why this was happening to her. That ate her away at Sharon like worms on a corpse. All she could get from her husband was that he didn't want to be married to any to her anymore, along with some vague reference to the terrible things she's done. It was about 5 years after this period that she called me. I'd been out of touch with Sharon, but I heard about her some of her troubles through the grapevine. I was surprised that the woman I was looking at as was we sat down for dinner, radiant emotional energy. After Sharon filled me in on everything that had happened, she continued, "But I'm okay now." Oh, I'm going to kill her. What? Oh, my friend was texting me. I'll have to answer later. I'm going to finish reading. Okay. After Sharon filled After Sharon filled me in on everything that happened, she continued, "But I'm okay now. More than okay. There was a period when I didn't know if I'd get out with my sanity. And even after things got clear and I ended up with just custody, joint custody, I was still devastated. It was such a deep rejection. I was so scared. Of course, I felt terrible about myself. I thought, what the hell's wrong with me? Am I this bad person? But I'd always thought of myself as a really good person. Hold on, guys. Well, some of us ask, what the hell is wrong with me? When things are going wrong, you just don't understand. Different situations happen. Everything's happened for a reason. And it's like, wow, what the hell? That's the first thing we say. What the hell is wrong with me? Because and you ask yourself, am I this bad person? But I always thought of myself as a really good person. Yeah, we think of ourselves as real good people, but that don't mean we're not. You know, it's just that. I have to text him because he's like, "What am I doing?" But I've asked myself that sometimes. Sometimes it's like, just what the hell's wrong with me? Why are my relationships are all messed up? But there's sometimes we got to look in the mirror and say, there is something wrong with you. But if somebody else sees it and tells you, that doesn't mean you're not a good person. You're not a bad person. It's just there's some things that need to be fixed and worked on. Just work on it. So let me finish reading this. Then things happened at work. But we always think we're a good person. We are good people, but there's some things in us that we just have to work on. Just work on them. That's what I have a life coach for. Then this happened at work. There was this guy who'd been responsible for our production in the Far East, but he just didn't know the Far East. He couldn't deal with the people there. They were eating us up alive because she was a fashion designer. So that meant the guy that she had working for it just didn't know anything. He couldn't deal with him. He was an older guy. I had one of my vice presidents fire him. She came back and told me how he took it really hard and how hard it had been for her. I was still fed up and said, well, if he can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. I think that's a known phrase. Can't stand the heat, get out the kitchen. If you can't deal with it, get away from it. Whether it's a people, a person, place, or thing. I can't play nursemaid for people. My vice president, She started the business with me. She just looked at me like, who the hell are you? I don't even know you. And she walked out. This is what our vice president told Sharon. It was her attitude of not thinking she could even begin to deal with me like I was a lost cause. That's what really said something to me. I didn't know who to talk to. I went to see my aunt, who been like a second mother to me. Some of us do have second moms. I do. Her name is Miss Slaughter. I go to her and I talk to her about anything and everything because my life coach is like a friend, she's my friend. So she said, and I asked Aunt Rose, am I a good person? She's like, oh, that's great. I thought, what a recommendation. So I asked her to let me have it. Let me have it. Tell me the truth about me. Don't lie to me. If I'm messed up, I'm messed up. If I'm out of place for saying something, as they say, stay in your lane. If I'm out of my lane, just tell it. Say, look, girl, you ain't supposed. No, that ain't none of your business. So, so I asked her to let me have it, and she said, "Look, Sharon, you've been a very lucky person. You have a lot of gifts you used to try hard to be good, but now I think you've hurt a lot of people without paying much attention to what you're doing. We got to pay attention on what we say, when we say it, how we say it to a person. You got to acknowledge their feelings too. Just don't go around saying things to people because you'll hurt them. You can mentally hurt them more than you can hurt them physically, their heart. Sharon suddenly saw a lot of things she'd never seen before. She was starting to turn into one of those cold hearted women who complain that no one sees how vulnerable they feel inside. She saw that maybe the best part of her had gotten lost. We do get lost. We get lost in our titles, our positions, how we look, instead of getting lost in the inside of finding who are you? What is your purpose here? Why were you born? She said to herself, I don't want to be someone who my baby's on here watching me. But anyway, let's see. This book is called Everything Happens for a Reason. He just want to watch and see what I'm doing. Let's finish talking about Sharon. I don't want to be someone who at best was merely not evil, but we're not evil. We just have a bad side to it. It's like the cartoon. You got the good side and the bad side and the in between. So I want to be a positive, good person, really do good things. The woman I saw was sitting across from me was a woman who had transformed herself. Sharon realized that her husband had been the canary in the coal mine. I don't see how. Other people had also been starting to get fed up with her. Basically, she turned into a bitch. Unfortunately, yeah, that's what they call it. So her new focus on being a good person transformed her relationship with everyone in her life. Ding, we're on the next one. Answering the bell. I wonder what this one's about. There are many. Answering the bell is like a wake up call. There are many kinds of wake up calls. Some come in dreams. Let's talk about Freddie. Freddie was in his mid 30s. He was building entrepreneur who hung out with the fast crowd, the big spenders. On a trip to Los Angeles, Freddie was at a party with a hot and cold running hookers and cocaine buffet. He overdosed and was taken to the hospital and nearly died. An important deal fell through when news of this got out. His fiancee left him, Why had this happened to me? He said. He wondered. None of the other guys got in trouble. Some of them had done a lot more drugs. One night, after all this happened, Freddie had a dream. He was a little boy walking into his grandfather's study. His grandfather was there surrounded by huge jars of candy. Take whatever you want, his grandfather said. He woke up in tears. Sometimes we just know what a dream means. Freddie knew his grandfather had been dead for a number of years. He'd been a powerful, self made man, a pillar of community, a patriarch of the family. Freddie had been his favorite grandchild. Some of us can be favorites. So he felt the dream meant that he could become everything his grandfather had been. Take whatever you want of the good things I have. The key to the dream was the tears he shed when he woke up. They were the tears of guilt and remorse over the stupid, wasteful things he'd done. Because he was a partier. He hung out with hookers, he did drugs, but he was an entrepreneur. But Grandpa said, take whatever you want of the good things I had, meaning taking the lessons that are learned from our grandparents. They teach us how to cook, the legacy, and everything else. What in the world? Hold on. That's something else. That's just a reminder. Okay, take whatever you want, the good things I have. The key of the dream was the tears he shed when he woke up. They were tears of guilt and remorse over the stupid, wasteful things. Sometimes we waste time on stuff that we just don't need to be doing, or we waste time on people. We waste time on certain jobs where they don't appreciate you. And God has another plan for you besides what you doing. You chose this job. He didn't chose it. You chose it because it made more money. More money, more problems. Now he understood that there was a reason why he got into such trouble. It was to remind him of the fact that the one thing he truly cared about was that one day he could become like his grandfather, a man of substance. Not because he was rich, but because he was a good person. And if he didn't become a good person, he would never become a man of substance. Sometimes you don't see what you have until you come close to losing it. Job. There are many people like Freddie, immaturity, distractions, living in the moment, laziness, all play a part in preventing these people from seeing how much they need to become good people. It often takes a disaster to reveal the destinies to them. The next one is on being a better than you think you are. On being better than you think you are. Do you think you're better than everybody? No. You can think it, you can show it. But let's say about Bradford. Let me tell you about Bradford. At 29, he was a big, solid, rugged looking African American. He owned a workshop where he made fine wood furniture by hand, dressed in brown corduroy pants and a black turtleneck. He looked like he looked uncomfortable talking about his life and his feelings. Mm. Sometimes we get like that. We get in our dungarees and we look like, I don't want to talk about that. But your past is your past, and your present is your present. Your present depicts your future pieces. Bradford had lived through one of those horrible childhoods that leave in old hands like me shaking their heads. It would have been a step up if his father had simply abandoned his family, but his father abandoned them. He abandoned the children, came back, spent their money, got drunk, beat up his mother, abandoned them again. Some of us have lived that story. Then came back, restarting the whole process over again. The process was spent their money. Some baby daddies do that. They don't take care of the kids. They come in just to have a place to sleep and have sex. make more babies, and use the woman. His mother coped by dragging Bradford and his sisters from one part of the city to another, where she took dead end jobs, got involved with cruel men, drank to escape her pain. Not all moms drink, but we have moments where we do things, choose the wrong men, be around our kids, and you know, I can relate to some of this with Bradford. But Bradford had to take care of his sisters. No one had ever taken care of him. He became a miniature adult, taking care of his siblings. I'm not here to complain, he said to me near the beginning of our work together. It's just the opposite. My childhood is too much in my head, and I want to get it out of my head. All it does is hurt. His trauma of watching his mom go through that. He became an adult with pain. I've screwed up every relationship. Why? Because how did I see my parents react? How did my dad, a boy looks at their dad more than they look at their mom. I've screwed up, he said, every relationship I've been in. I'm afraid I'll never be able to open up and relax with anybody I care about. I feel like a car that was made in a really, really, really bad factory. And all that car can think about is how he must be one really bad car. This is wrong and stupid. I want to stop feeling this way. The metaphor of him feeling like a bad car is like one of the old cars. It's old, it's rusted, it barely runs. So there it is. What I keep asking myself, why did it happen to me? Having a childhood like that. I wanted to get the stuff from my past out of my life. I want to stop thinking about it. I want to get close to people. I want to stop feeling like a victim. I want to be happy. And if I can just figure out some reason for what happened, I'll be okay. I'd like to ask you something, Brad. I said, I know you went through some really tough times growing up. What do you think is the difference that made for you? What do you want me to say? It sucked. It made me mad. Okay, that's good. Usually, when we get mad, we say, I'm gonna something. Well, in your case, what? I was mad. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do the same thing to my family when I have one. Sort of like, don't do unto others as what you don't want them to do unto you. Something like that, Bradford said. I took a deep breath and now I'm going to take a risk here. I'd be willing to bet that since you've grown up, you haven't always been a good person as you like to be. Instead of getting insulted, Bradford agreed with me easily. I don't actually get this, but I'm amazed what a jerk I can be sometimes. I remember my father, if he was walking somewhere and you were in his way, he'd just shove you into the wall. Damn. Now that's rough. I remember so clearly thinking I'd never be like that. But no, if guys who work in my shop make a mistake, I can be brutal sometimes. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's gradually dawned on me that maybe my father hadn't been trying to be mean either. Mean people just do it without trying. And I hate it so much when I'm a jerk like that. I couldn't feel worse. One more question, Brad. Has it ever caused you any really pain that you've mistreated someone? That's what I just said. Bradford said sharply, weren't you even listening? I cut down some guy who works with me and I could see he was hurt. Ooh, so it was being mean. You can tell because they avoid you. They don't. People avoid people that are mean. They don't want to be around you. They speak and they smile and they just keep going. I see that. I knew I had made it happen. Well, Brad, I have to tell you that you fit the pattern perfectly. I think I can show you right now a way you could find meaning in what happened to you. What happened was to help you be a better person, more to help you a genuinely good person, not just a good person. She said genuinely. Check it out. You were mistreated. That hurt you. You've mistreated others. That not only hurt them, it caused you pain as well. That means you're a part of the club of people who find meaning in what happened to them from the discovery that they needed, really need to become good people. Now you tell me, I continue, hasn't it been chewing you up inside to know that you wanted to be a good person, that you can be one, but to see that you're not really a good person as you could be by far. I was taking the risk, and after all, he could say no. Bradford stunned me in a low voice as he said, I always thought of myself as a bad person. I know somebody else in my life that thinks that, but actually, they're a good person. They don't see the goodness in them. They don't see the positivity in them. They don't see the light. You have to see the light in yourself. That's the truth. I was always afraid. I was like my father, bad like him, weak like my mother. I go around like, hey, I'm a good guy. But that's a front. I don't want you to know that kind of person. I'm afraid I really am. Maybe learning to be truly good can be something to take away from what happened to you because you have the capacity to be as much better person than you ever imagined. I I just don't think really bad people think of themselves as bad. The fact that you thought this is a sign you've been always wanting to make a journey that you see in front of you. So, what do I do now? Bradford asked. Bradford's journey had begun. After our work together, I got a note from him. Here, in part, is what he wrote. Sometimes I still believe that what life had been trying to teach me was that I needed to be a better person. I look at my hands that handle wood all day. Every day after work, I put lotion on them to soften them. Now I find out the reason I went through this stuff in life is that I did was to soften me up and make me kinder and more compassionate. Wow. I don't think I would have come with that reason in a million years, Bradford said, on my own. You just got locked into that idea that tough things make you tough. Mm-mm. All the craziness I went through growing up. Hey, if you can't learn to take care of yourself, you're in trouble. I learned to take care of myself. I think I would have learned to take care of myself no matter what. That's the whole thing. I'm a tough guy, Bradford said. The reason stuff happened to me and my life wasn't to make me more tough, it was to help me complete the picture of become a little softer, sweeter, kinder, hopefully easier to love one day. I just want to thank you, Myra, for helping me with this. As the letter continued, I could see Bradford went after his new life with a typical mixture of skepticism, particularly. He decided for the first time in his life he would become friends with women. He sensed that would help show him the way to become a better person. One of the women he became friends with worked with him, teenage girls who were at risk. Bradford set up a program for teaching these girls carpentry. The woman had 5-year-old daughter. Eventually, Bradford fell in love with this woman, and they're now married and had adopted a daughter. Wow, that was pretty deep. But I have a phrase for today. But I'm here. I have one more thing to say. Haha. This is the 15 steps of self-care. If you want this book from the library, it's called Everything Happens for a Reason. I've had this book since 2010. Mighty funny. Let's do our 15 steps to self-care. If it feels wrong, don't do it. Say exactly what you mean. Don't be a people pleaser. Trust your instinct. Never speak bad about yourself. I got to stop doing that. I really do, because the size I am now, I'm a pear. I was used to being a pencil, but it is what it is. Never give up on your dreams. My dreams is just to be happy and bring someone peace. And I think I found my soulmate, guys. We'll talk about that later. But let's go back. Don't be afraid to say no. Just because people constantly say, look, they know you're going to do it, but just say no. Don't be afraid to say yes. Be kind to yourself. Let go of what you can't control. That's not a big thing for me, but sometimes a percentage. Stay away from drama and negativity. I can't do drama. Drama, drama, drama. Ooh, it drains me. Negativity, I try not to respond to. I laugh at it. I'll give you a smile. Forgive yourself. Don't look to your past. It is called a past for a reason. Remember, it's not where you've been, it's where you're going. Remember to love yourself. Remember to smile. And if you're interested in having a life coach, her name is Coach Carla Nicole. Her mantra is smile. S is for smile. Meditate. Inspire others. Laugh hysterically and elevate yourself to a highest potential. She's also on Patreon. The membership is free. Look her up. And don't forget your living soul reading. We're not names, we're numbers. So remember to smile. Catch Coach Carla Nicole. She's on YouTube. She's on TikTok. Watch her channel. Peace.